Thomas Jefferson, who in 1814, in a letter to Dr. Thomas Cooper, said, "Finally, in answer to Fortescue Allen's question why the Ten Commandments should not now be a part of the common law of England, we may say they are not because they never were." He said that, in truth, the alliance between church and state in England has ever made their judges accomplices in the frauds of the clergy, and even bolder than they are. But I think perhaps most importantly, you go to the Jefferson Memorial here in Washington, D.C., and there's this dome in the top, and the words that are carved inside that circle are, "I have sworn upon the altar of God," one of the few times that Jefferson publicly referenced God, "eternal hostility against every form of tyranny imposed upon the mind of man." And people think, oh, he must have been a godly guy. Here's the letter that it came from, just to put this in context. This is in 1800. It was to Ben Rush. This was 2 months before he was elected president of the United States. He was fighting a furious campaign for president with the then president. And he says, "Dear Sir," Benjamin Rush here is the guy he's writing to. And in this letter, he says, "Dear Sir, I promised you a letter on Christianity. And I have not forgotten. I do not know that it would reconcile, here it is right here. I do not know that it would reconcile the genus irritable vetum, which is Latin for the angry priests, who are all in arms against me. Their hostility is on too interesting a ground to be softened. The delusion on the clause of the Constitution, which while it secured the freedom of the press," he's talking about the First Amendment, "covered also the freedom of religion, has given to the clergy a very favorite hope of obtaining an establishment of a particular form of Christianity throughout the United States. And as every sect believes its own form, the true one, everyone perhaps hoped for his own, but especially the Episcopalians and Congregationalists. The returning," and here's the sentence, "the returning good sense of our country," which he's talking about himself being elected president of the United States. The returning, because here, John Adams he was running against John Adams, and Adams was pretty openly Christian. "The returning good sense of our country threatens abortion to their hopes, and the preachers believe that any portion of power confided to me, such as being elected president, will be exerted in opposition to their schemes. And they believe rightly, for I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man. But this is all they have to fear from me. But it is enough, too, in their opinion." So Jefferson was warning about the tyranny of the religious. Let's get Bradlee Dean's thoughts on this. He's the co-host of the Sons of Liberty Radio, an ordained preacher and heavy metal drummer for the band Junkyard Prophet. Sons of Liberty Radio.com is the website. Bradlee, welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Jefferson, I have a copy, actually. Jefferson famously went through the New Testament, cut out all the miracles, and published it as basically saying Jesus was a philosopher. He was not a god. And this book is being passed out, I guess, by atheists here in Washington, D.C., and this has you upset?
No, it doesn't have me upset. I mean, it's not like for the most part, when you look at the politicians, it's you speak to them as if they even know the Constitution or the foundations or the history of where we have come from and where we're going. And it's interesting that I've been listening to you for the last 5 minutes, and I hear animosity towards our foundations. And I hear it over and over and over again. And I'm just humored when we look around at all of the historical documentation that we have, and to deny the very existence of where law came from, laws of nature and nature's God. Mm-hmm. We derive our right for endowed unto us by our Creator.
Well, here, let me then share with you this very, very quickly. in a letter to Thomas Cooper, February 10th, 1814, so you can easily Google it. This is Thomas Jefferson. Sir Matthew Hale lays it down in these words: Christianity is parcel of the laws of England. But Christianity had not been introduced till the 7th century, the conversion of the first Christian king of the Heptarchy having taken place in the year 598 and that of the last about 686. Here then was a space of 200 years during which the common law was in existence and Christianity no part of it. We might as well say that the Newtonian system of philosophy is part of the common law as that the Christian religion is. It was not, and he goes on, I mean, he's here's another one. He says, our revolution commenced on more favorable... Well, that's about the modern revolution. But, yeah, I mean, Jefferson said, in fact, he ended that letter... He ended a letter to 1824 letter to Cartwright. He said, what a conspiracy this between church and state. Sing tara tara, rogues all, rogues all. No, Jefferson was of the opinion that Christianity had nothing to do with common law.
Really?
Well, he wrote several letters saying so.
Thomas Jefferson was also the president of the United States.
Yeah, for 8 years.
As was he the president of public schools in Washington, D.C., and the two books that were made mandatory were the Bible and Watts hymnals. Thomas Jefferson was Anglican under the influence of English deists. When we look at the history of who we are, if I can invoke or incite Charles...
Where are you getting this stuff?
The Declaration of Independence. He's the one.
Where are you getting this stuff?
Well, let me respond to your brother from another mother. Without morals, a republic cannot subsist any length of time. They, therefore, who are decrying the Christian religion, whose morality is so sublime and pure, and which ensures to the good eternal happiness, are undermining the solid foundation of morals, the best security of the duration of free governments. That was a signer of the Declaration of Independence.
It was not Thomas Jefferson.
The 55 signers.
That was not Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson on February 1st, 1799, in his diary, wrote, when the clergy addressed General Washington on his departure from the government, it was observed in their consultation that he had never on any occasion said a word to the public which showed a belief in the Christian religion.
On your show, can I respond?
And well, let me just finish this, just a sentence or two here. And that George Washington had never on any occasion said a word to the public which showed a belief in the Christian religion, and they thought he should do so. However, Jefferson wrote, the old fox was too cunning for them. He answered every article of their dress, particularly except that which he passed over without notice. And then he says, I know that Governor Morris, who pretends to be in his secrets in Washington confidence and believed him to be so, has often told me that General Washington believes no more in that Christian system than he himself did.
You might want to go to his home and look on his casket because he's got scripture on his casket, might I add. But
I've been there.
If we can go back, he's also the guy that said religion and morality are the essential pillars of civil society. Now, if I can have a minute to answer some of your questions, I'd be more than happy to do that.
You have 1 minute.
He said, where are you coming up with these things? Well, the Washington Monument, at the very top of the Washington Monument, it says, praise be to God. On the stairs, inscribed all the way to the very top, is Scripture. When you go to the Supreme Court building in Washington, D.C., you see Moses and the Ten Commandments, and right under it says, justice, the guardian of liberty. Now, when you go inside the chambers, you see In God We Trust. When you go to Arlington Cemetery, you see Christian crosses over the top of the heads of our boys that ratified the Constitution of the United States to give us liberty and the freedoms that we now have. If you go to the Liberty Bell, my friend, you see Leviticus 25:10 on it. It says proclaim liberty.
So which of the Christian religions should we make the official religion of America, Dave?
The flags that were flying during the Revolutionary War, Tom.
Bradley, which of the Christian religions should be our official religion then?
I'm trying to figure out where are you getting your information from?
From Thomas Jefferson's diary and letters.
Allegiance. I can go on and on and on and on. I could transport you to the sun, and you wouldn't see the sun.
Maybe. I'll leave you with the last word. Bradlee Dean, sonsoflibertyradio.com.